Alright, we're playing some more SimCity 2000. Copyright 1993, Maxis. And this week, LGR on YouTube, who I've been watching for a very long time, just dropped 30th anniversary SimCity 2000 retrospective video on his channel. So go check that out. But man, it's hard to imagine that it's been 30 years since this game came out. And I was just a wee lad. But today we're going to be playing something, it's November, so we're going to be playing something Christmas themed. And by Christmas, I mean winter. And by winter, I mean nuclear winter. The Manhattan scenario. The year 2007. The problem? Nuclear meltdown. Minimize the damage and clean up the town. Manhattan. Your city is powered by relatively cheap and abundant nuclear power. Today, however, the core melts down, spreading fires and radiation all around. Minimize the damage, clean up the mess, and build up the city population to 130,000 in 10 years to win. Let's go. And there it is, a nuclear meltdown. As far as nuclear meltdowns go, I would have to say this is pretty light. There's a big fire, and there's radiation strewn about the area. But in terms of, when I think of nuclear disasters, I think of Chernobyl, for one, and this, compared to that, it doesn't really compare. But enough about that. Our first focus is going to be on putting out these fires. And I'm actually going to put a timestamp in the video once I'm done recording, so that you can skip ahead, because this is pretty much what I'm going to do is I'm just going to bulldoze around the fires so that they don't spread. And this is pretty tedious, but once I do this part of the scenario, then I will allow people to continue watching after this is done. So, yeah, and I had to Google it because I know that this is a technique in with people who fight forest fires or wildfires. They will actually dig ditches, or and I think it's called a fire break. I think I knew that, I just couldn't remember the name. So that's what we're going to do, is we're going to bulldoze fire breaks around all the fires. And why don't I just dispatch firefighters, you might ask? Well, there are only a handful of fire departments in this scenario, so that means we only have a handful of fire trucks available at any one time. So the other thing is that you can see that even though we lost I think one or two nuclear plants, we do want to save this one if we can. We want to save whatever nuclear plants we can save, because they're really expensive to replace. So if the fire was right next to one of the nuclear plants that survived, I would focus all my firefighters on trying to save the nuclear plants that need saving. But in this run, it looks like this one isn't in any imminent danger, at least. But in my practice run, there was a fire that was right next to, I think it was this nuclear plant, and the fire tiles had already spread to the point where they were right next to the nuclear plant. So I was actually able to save the plant by just creating a wall, forming a wall of fire trucks. So, but it doesn't look like we have to do that in this run. But like I always say, your results may vary. And of course, it does cost a little bit of money to bulldoze all of these tiles. But what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to make sure that I have at least 18,000 in funds remaining, and you will see why later on. It's a little bit tricky to see around this fire tile just to make sure that I bulldoze everything around it, and I'm actually going to use one of those fire trucks, or two perhaps, just to be on the safe side, just to see if I can save that school. So we might not need to bulldoze that school after all. So I'm going to continue to bulldoze the areas around the fires, and yeah, just making sure that I don't miss any, because when I unpause the simulation, if I miss any fires, I don't bulldoze around them properly, then they're going to spread pretty fast. Even on the slowest simulation speed, Turtle, they can get out of hand pretty quickly. So I'm just going to continue to do this. And I might just take a step back and zoom out just to see, okay, this area I need to focus on here. And this does take several minutes, but this is probably the hardest part of the scenario. After this, it's relatively smooth sailing, I would say. And also just keeping an eye on our funds. We still have well over 19,000. Just want to make sure I don't dip below that. Okay. You know what? I'm going to dispatch firefighters here. I think they're, and I can actually check right now. Yeah, let's see. There are 2, 4, 6, it looks like 6 fire departments. And if you have the volunteer firefighter department ordinance enabled, you can actually dispatch, I would be able to dispatch a 7th fire truck. But in this case, we only have 6 available. Okay, we're making pretty good progress here. And I'm just going to make sure that I bulldoze around all the fires. And this was actually a requested scenario. Someone had asked me if there are any nuclear meltdown scenarios in this game, to which I said yes. As a matter of fact, there is one. What would a SimCity game be without nuclear meltdown disaster? And I'm just gonna take one last look, because I think I've gotten all or almost all of the fires. So yeah, you might notice that there are many tiles which have radiation, and we will not be able to build anything on those tiles. They're basically contaminated, and those tiles we won't be able to use them for anything in this scenario. So we're going to have to build around them. Okay, just having a look over here, and I think we are good to unpause the simulation. But before I do that, we're going to turn off disasters, because the point of this video is just to show you how to complete the scenario. It's not, I don't want to contend with any more disasters than we have to. So I missed a spot there. I'm just going to dispatch my last two fire trucks. Oh, it looks like I missed a spot here as well. Well, you know what? Let's dispatch a couple here. And yes, it looks like we took one away from the school that we were trying to save. So I'm just going to make sure that, okay, I have two there, one there, and I think that's all of them. So, okay, let's unpause now and make sure the fires go out. I'm just going to make sure that they don't spread. It looks like our school is safe. And the highway, we lost a bit of the highway, but that's not too expensive to replace. And, oh, it looks like this may actually be spreading. Oh, that's not good. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. When you don't completely bulldoze around your fires, things can spread pretty quickly, and we almost actually lost this nuclear plant. But it looks like we may be able to save it in the nick of time. Okay, just want to make sure, yeah, this area spread as well. I'm not sure if I missed bulldozing anything, but it's not too much trouble just to do that now. Okay, there we go. And one final look around just to make sure that I didn't miss anything else. Okay, yes, it looks like the fire is pretty contained, so I'm going to unpause, and let's hope that this nuclear plant doesn't catch ablaze. Alright, it looks like we're safe. And I'm just going to look around, make sure that the fire doesn't spread. And yeah, now that things, the fire looks pretty contained, so I'm just going to start moving my fire trucks around just to put out the last areas of fire. And all in all, this part of the scenario took a little over 10 minutes. But like I said, I think that's the hardest part of this scenario, is just containing the fires. And the fires look like they're almost out. And if you click this arrow, it'll actually pan to all the locations where there are currently fires. So it looks like that was the last location. And we're good. Meltdown raises fears. I would imagine it would raise more than fears. That seems like understating it a bit. Anyway, we have our favorite message popped up. Industry needs connections. But before we do anything about that, we are going to need to replace It looks like we lost a nuclear plant that was here under this rubble. And it looks like there was one here as well. So we're going to need to replace, it may have been a third one here, but we're going to need to do something to replace the power capacity that our city lost. And the first thing I'm going to do is take out a loan. And this will be the only loan that I take out during the scenario. So we'll take out a bond at 6%. And now we have 29,000, over 29,000. And with that money, I'm going to build a microwave plant. So I think in the last scenario video that I did for Davenport, I explained that the microwave plant is over 3 times the capacity of the nuclear plant at less than twice the price. So it's pretty cost efficient. But of course, and I think I forgot to mention this in the last video, that if you have disasters on, you can actually have a pretty serious disaster happen. So like it says here in the description, unfortunately, the effects of a mistargeted beam are as yet unknown. And this is a bit of foreshadowing to what can happen. So I will leave that up to you to figure out what that might be. But for now, we're just going to go ahead. Since we have disasters off, we don't need to worry about such nonsense. So we are going to build a microwave plant right here. With the last remaining bit of money until the next budget year, we're going to need to connect a lot of our power grid back together, because we did lose some areas of connectivity, and without that, without those power lines, a lot of our city is going to end up experiencing blackouts. So I just want to make sure, and this is kind of hard to gauge sometimes, but I'm just kind of eyeballing it just to make sure that the power grid is all connected, it's all unified, for lack of a better term, just so that all the power plants are connected together, and that it's all the power that the city is generating is shared by one power grid. So we're not going to be able to find out until I unpause, which is now. So it's going to take a couple months before we can see for sure. Once these power lines stop flashing, then we'll be able to see if there are any pockets of the city that still need power. And I just want to be on the safe side. And another one of our favorite messages, water shortage reported. But that's mostly to do with the pumps not being powered. The city has a lot of water pumps. They're just missing power right now. So that message should go away soon. But for now, it looks like our city is making plenty of profit at year end. So I'm not gonna raise taxes. In fact, let's lower commercial taxes just a bit there, because we are going to need to spur some growth. And I'm also going to check in with my advisors. People are asking for a pollution ordinance. After what the people of Manhattan have been through, I think they deserve as much. A neighborhood watch program would take a bite out of crime. Well, this is New York after all. We need an anti-drug campaign to help our kids. All right. And I know that crime is going to be out of control, but we're at 100% funding. The city needs more firemen. Yes, that's also going to be an issue. Hospitals and schools, though, no issues there. So let's exit out of our budget screen and, yeah, back to the power situation. And let's assess where the grid might be, where we might have a disconnect in the grid. So I'm just looking around, and yeah, it looks like this whole area of the grid is missing power. But hopefully we're able to sort that out soon. And like I said, it can be a little bit tricky to just to do this by looking at it. If I take a look at the map, I can see that this whole pocket of the city, oh wow, it's actually the reverse of what I thought. So the red is unpowered. So I'm just going to make sure the power is being transferred to the zones that need it. And we don't want to go too long without solving this crisis, because our population is dropping the longer this takes. Okay. Let's have a look at this map now. And it looks like, yes, our power issues are mostly solved, apart from a few pockets here and here. So, yeah, I'm going to pause again, just taking a note of this industry needs connections message, because the next thing I'm going to do is rebuild the sections of the highway that were lost. So, in my practice run, some of the radiation had actually prevented me from rebuilding the highway. So I had to kind of, you know, you got to find a workaround. So I had to build around the radiation. And if need be, this whole, this water body, the Hudson River here, is actually, this is a fake river. This is actually surface water drawn on the map. So as you can, as you might notice, the water doesn't go off the map. So what you can do is actually, if need be, you can bulldoze the water, and if you need to replace any highway sections, that's what you can do. But for now, let's go back, and yes, what I wanted to do was I want to build a neighbor connection here. Yeah, let's see if that takes care of our industry needs connections message. So yeah, let's unpause the game. And the next thing I want to do is I want to rebuild the sections of this railroad that were also lost. And again, it's possible that the radiation can prevent you from rebuilding sections of railroads. So yeah, like here for example. So let's pause the game actually. And I did notice that it said fire protection demanded. So that's the next thing we're going to tackle after I figure out this mess. So let's bulldoze this road and let's build a railway like that. And let's rebuild this section of road. Okay, that's not too bad. We weren't able to keep the whole road grid, but at least, and yeah, we're gonna have to reconnect many sections of road, but for the most part, that should be fine. So I can just go ahead and just rebuild these stretches of road as I go. But yes, I also wanted to take a look at our fire protection map. So if I take a look at where our existing fire departments are, I can see that close to Central Park here, and yes, this is Central Park, there's a lack of fire protection in this area of the city. So let's see if there's anywhere around here where I can build a fire department. And it looks like there's some areas which were lost in the fires. So before the buildings redevelop, I'm just gonna knock those down. And let's build a fire department here. And so yeah, let's just bulldoze a bit of the rubble, make it look a bit nicer. But yeah, I read an article about how Central Park was almost entirely man-made. Yes, even the water in Central Park, even the ponds were man-made ponds. So I just thought that was kind of interesting. I also heard on a podcast that many cities they will try to set aside green space. They will try to allow some areas of green space in urban areas, just to not only for environmental reasons, but for public health reasons as well. It's good for people to be out in green spaces. And there's actually a difference between green spaces that are manicured and landscaped green spaces versus wild forested areas. So I just thought that was interesting as well. They were saying that the manicured green spaces don't quite have the same benefits. While they can look very nice, it's not the same as when people are out in a forested wilderness area, for example. But enough about that. Let's continue the simulation, and let's keep an eye rather on the messages that pop up. And yes, it looks like we need more outside connections. So let's take a look what we can where we can build another connection, and I know just the place. This side of the map doesn't have any outside connections, but it has this bridge going out of town. So we'll just say that this is I don't know, is this like Staten Island over here, or maybe, I don't know, maybe that's New Jersey. Who knows? So yeah, we'll build a connection there, and I kind of want to extend this railway so that it also goes out of town. So I'm going to do that there. And we're just about out of money, so I'm going to unpause the game. And before year end, let's take a look at our population. So if you recall, our population needs to be 130,000 after 10 years. So we started in 2007. We have plenty of time to get there. But for now, looks like we're not making quite as much money as we were. But I don't want to raise taxes at the moment. I do want the buildings that we lost to redevelop. So I'll keep taxes low just to make sure that development speeds up. But before we close the budget screen, let's take a look at what our advisors are saying, and that's good. It looks like our crime rate is leveled off. It's no longer out of control. Now it's comparable to the national average. And yes, everything else looks to be in order. So yeah, at this point we have a little bit of money. So let's continue while things, as things redevelop. A lot of the zones that we lost will develop. Let's just make sure that our road grid is also rebuilt, as well as our power grid, because we might still be missing power in a couple places. So I just want to bulldoze that just to uncover what was underneath. Okay, that was a road. And yeah, it looks like we lost a lot of civic buildings, and there's no real way to know what was there previously. So let's just put down some residential, since we have some demand for it. And I don't want to put it right next to the radiation, so we'll leave a bit of space, a little bit of a buffer there. Alright, make sure that this is powered, and put a bit of residential down. It doesn't matter too much that it's next to industrial, because if you look at this city, if you look around, there's already a lot of residential kind of commingled. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. Commingled with industrial zones. So, yeah, it's not too big of a deal for this scenario. But normally, I wouldn't necessarily zone residential and industrial right next to each other. I keep doing that. I'm going to demolish the rubble, but then the zone will start to redevelop at the same time. And yeah, let's see. This could probably use some power. Looks like our marina needs a road to get there, so let's build one. And did all that talk about green space, and haven't built any yet, so let's build some parks here, shall we? Yeah, you know what? Screw this one tile of industrial. Let's build parks. Great. And yeah, let's take a look at our population, and we're up to 103,930. Okay, let's see where we can continue to rezone or rebuild infrastructure that was lost. So it looks like that zone needed power. Now it should have it. And let's have a look closer to Times Square here. Pretty underwhelming rendition of Times Square, but you know, it is what it is. Okay, at the year end of 2009, we're still making about $2,000 a year, but as our population grows, so will that figure as well. And this guy keeps wanting to raise taxes, but I want to keep taxes low for now. Okay. Yeah, let's make sure that we're able to redevelop wherever possible, wherever needed. And it looks like we're almost in good shape. Let's rezone this with industrial. The radiation doesn't matter so much because it's industrial, as opposed to, you know, if it was residential, it would be different. Okay, yeah, it looks like the area that was affected by the meltdown is pretty much, yeah, that's about as good as it's gonna get in terms of the rebuild. So let's just put down some more industrial here and here, like that. Okay, I think that should be good. So now let's, because we're gonna need more zones, we're gonna need more residential to increase our population. So what I like to do here is, and you may recall how I said this water is fake water. So let's, yeah, let's bulldoze the East River. And it's not as bad as it sounds, believe me. But we're just gonna reclaim some of this land here. About 3 tiles, not about 3 tiles, but exactly 3 tiles from the road. And I'm just gonna do that until we get to the bridge here. There. Okay, and then we're gonna just lay down some dense residential like that. And I always like to put parks in those 1x1 spaces like that. And let's put some industrial around the prison here, because I don't think anyone wants to live right next to the prison, so let's use industrial as a buffer. And I'm just going to put down some power lines on this end so that that end grows as well. And we're kind of coming up on the budget screen. There it is. Let's keep the taxes low. See if there's any ordinances needed. Nope. Our advisors they're all saying the same thing that they were saying before. Yeah, you know what? Let's build a fire station. And I think I know where I want to build one. And it has to do with bulldozing the river. So let's do something like that. we go. And our favorite message has popped up once again. Industry needs connections. So let's build one here. And just as quickly as the message popped up, there it goes. You know what? I don't like how this marina doesn't have an access road, so I'm going to build one. Oh, you too, huh? The problem here is I can't build under a diagonal highway. The game just won't let me, so I'm just going to leave that one be. But yeah, there's not much else to do other than zone residential, make sure that our infrastructure is intact, and that's pretty much it. This city should have the zones already needed to support the population goals, so we don't need to do too much zoning. We don't need to do too much else. So we're at 110,000 now, and that will continue to go up. But yeah, you know what? It doesn't hurt to speed things up. So let's do more of this bulldozing the river and putting down some residential. Just like that. Okay. Looks like this is missing power here. Yeah, since I extended the railway, but I forgot to bring power across to the other side of the tracks. So yeah, that's my bad. So yeah, we're at year end 2011. So we're only 4 years in. And we're making more money than we really need at this point. So yeah, let's lower taxes. Just to spur some more growth. Alright, our fire response is adequate. That's good news. Everything else is good. And taking a look at our population, it went down for some reason, but I don't expect that to be the trend. So let's just keep an eye on things. Make sure it goes back over 110,000 at least. Yeah, this area here. Well, this window's in the way, but yeah, this is developing. This is developing slowly. Let's speed that up a bit. And there we go. This zone was touching the marina, so I was wondering when the marina would send power to this tile here, which will then power the rest of this zone here. Yeah. You know what? I'm a little bit, I'm being a little bit impatient, so let's just, yeah, let's continue zoning just to, you know, meet our population goal faster. And why not? Let's put a connection there. And city borders are always good for industrial, since you know, since you you are pretty much concentrating the pollution that they generate. You're concentrating it on the edge of the map, as opposed to if you build industrial zones in the middle of your city. The pollution is going to it's going to have a much larger radius, if that makes sense. Okay, it looks like our population is heading in the right direction, so... And, yeah, right on cue. Industry needs connections. So, where do we need a connection next? Okay, I see a couple places where we could use them. One there, and one there. Okay, yes. In the meantime, let me think. Where do I want to continue to zone? Let's do something like this. Let's extend this island here. And what we can do next, just after, take a look at the budget screen real quick. What we can do next is we can build a nice bridge. Let's build a suspension bridge, since this this span of water is too long for a raising bridge. Raising bridges can only be built over certain lengths of water, so suspension bridge it is. And yeah, that's what we'll do there. And I'm going to build more dense residential here and some power lines to speed up the development. And I'm thinking this might be too far from other zones, so I'm going to build some industrial. Yeah, just a little bit of industrial here. Industry needs connections. That's, you know what, when I see that message, it pops up frequently in these scenarios, but it's actually a good sign. When you see that message, it means that your city needs more outside connections to support the growing population. So that means that our city is going in the right direction in terms of our population goal. So let's build a connection there. Cool, all right. Let's build some light commercial here. And I want to take a look at our population. We're up to 117,000. So we're still going in the right direction, but it's just a matter of making sure that we have enough zones to support our population goal. And yes, there's a whole neighborhood here that looks like there are a lot of abandoned buildings. Usually when that happens, it's because there isn't a sufficient mix of zones nearby. So what I'm going to do to remedy that is I'm going to just... Yeah, I probably don't need these water pumps that are not adjacent to any water, so I'm going to replace those with some commercial. yeah, same with these ones. They're not water adjacent, so it's not like they're really useful anyway. So I'm going to replace that with some commercial zones. There we go. And there is demand for it, so these commercial zones should develop pretty fast. Yeah, there's another area like that here. Let's see, there's 2 hospitals, one right next to the other, so that means I'm going to probably demolish one. City needs more firemen. We'll take care of that. But first, I'm going to replace this hospital with a commercial development. And let's see, where else do we need a connection? I'm not seeing any here, so let's build one here. And I did see, I remember that I saw our fire protection advisor was saying that we need more fire departments, so let's take a look at the map. And yeah, it looks like this area close to Central Park here could use a fire station, so let's just build one here. Or, yeah, here, right next to the zoo. Okay, yes, our population is almost at our goal. Just like that, we're at 127,000. So I expect, yeah, any minute now we should complete the scenario. And if you're really, like at this point, if you still need money, you could probably stand to raise taxes. So I'm just gonna raise taxes to 5%. Since our demand is pretty strong, I don't think a 1% increase will hurt. So, and yeah, it looks like our neighborhoods here are doing a whole lot better since I put down those commercial zones. And of course, that also helps our population. Yeah, just gonna look for any other neighborhoods like that, which could use a bit of help. Let's see. Oh, I missed a road here. Carnegie Hall, built in 1900. Looks like, oh, there was something here. It was a 2x2 building, civic building, possibly a library. Oh, that's right, I don't have enough money. Looks like we're missing, that was road that we're missing there. Cool, so now we have a bit more money. Our advisors all seem happy. And let's build a nice library. Oh yeah, there's radiation there, no wonder. Never mind. Oh, what the heck, man? What happened to my population? Could it be that 1% tax increase drove 16,000 people out of Manhattan? Okay, yeah, this game is this game is tripping. Yeah, we're back to 130,000. Never mind. Yeah, so that's Manhattan. Let's see. I've been recording for just over 55 minutes, and honestly, that's not too difficult of a scenario. After you contain the fires, it's just a matter of rebuilding the road and rail infrastructure, and the highway, and yeah, just redeveloping any zones that need it. So yeah, for my next video, I was going to do a longer video, but I decided just this one would be relatively short, so I could just bang this one out in one night. So here it is. Yeah, this is Manhattan. Thanks for watching, everyone. See you in the next one.